Okay, so my name is Teddy Lorenz, and this is the recording for sprint or backlog number 5. I changed it around since the last time, and I had actually emailed the professor, and he allowed me to change this last sprint. So now my music app will display survey answers, and it will allow the user to add a preferred song. That was something that I noticed that was wanted by a lot of people whenever they commented on my past sprints. So, as part of app development, instead of working on the bar charts, pie charts, and other visuals, I thought that I would go with what people actually wanted. So I figured I'd add this feature instead, as it would be more useful in order to allow people to vote on their preferred song and to support multi-peer uh, activity. So to look over what I've been working on, right here I have the touch vote function that is attached to the voting button. And what it's basically doing is that whenever this button is clicked, it is sending all this data to Google Firebase, and it's storing it within that specific song. Within that specific song is a vote and a specific user behind that vote. So what's going to happen is it's going to take that URL that's generated from clicking that button, and it's going to send it to the Google Firebase database. And then in order to update the database, after like a user signs out, and to keep it there, what it's going to do is it's going to send that URL back and store it back within our song, basically, so that we can constantly get like an updated value. And I also added within music list. This is basically the code that communicates back to MusicCell. So MusicCell is just the specific song itself. So within a MusicCell, you're going to have vote, the vote number, song, and artist name. And then when you click on it, it's going to count as voted. When you click finish, it's going to display the actual song name that you voted on previously. So what this is basically doing, this index path.row is basically the row itself is the voting tile that includes the song name and voted, so that you can duplicate it as many times as you want. So what I'm doing here is it's saying DQ reusable cell with identifier MusicCell. So MusicCell right here, it's an instance of MusicCell, which, like I said, includes title, vote ID, vote count, user, username, and post ID. And what we're going to do is have the music list, which is going to be multiple MusicCells communicating with the data that comes from the MusicCell back here. So this is something that I showed in the previous sprint, but the get results function, when you click on finish, it will just display the song that you voted for. It'll just say a quick message like, thank you for voting for Led Zeppelin, or whatever the songs displayed are. So then I also added the functionality of being able to add a song, like one that you prefer, instead of just constantly having static values that maybe you didn't want to vote on in the first place. That was something that I saw was pretty popular in the comments throughout the semester. So basically what I did is I created an instance of MusicCell, which means I had to specify the title, the vote, and the post ID, which is the unique cell itself. And what I did is whenever I wanted to add a new cell, I would call this function, which was attached to add button tapped. So when add button tapped was tapped, it would take the index path, like I said before, and append a new cell, and it would just keep doing that every single time you clicked add. And then after you would add it, then you'd be able to vote on it, and it would be able to be public to all the other users as well. So these are the static cells that I have right now, but if you could just keep adding on, so we start off with 3 and we'll go to 4. And then for the main.storyboard, we have, this is the add section right here. So you type it in here, it's an input field. And then you click add, it'll add it onto here within the prototype cells. And then when you click finish, it'll say thank you for voting, and the song that you clicked on or voted on. And then you can sign out, and all that data will be saved within it so that it isn't constantly being deleted every single time that you are closing out of the app. So that make it really frustrating with a bunch of people using it. So let's just test out the simulation of this. Okay, so I'm going to do username Teddy, password, sign in, sign up. Okay, to add a song. Say it's or even just an artist. Vacation breakdown. And I'm going to add it. So now everything that specifies this cell right up here within the music cell file, I basically just created another one and I appended it to the list that was here before. So say I want to vote on this, and right here, voting on communication breakdown, I'm going to click on finish, and it'll say thank you for voting. Thanks for picking communication breakdown. So then all that data will be sent to Google Firebase, and see it says voted, so you voted on it. And then when you sign out, you can sign out, and it brings you right back to username and password. So thank you for this opportunity. This class taught me a lot when it came to developing iOS applications and using Google Firebase. There was definitely some hurdles in terms of trying to figure out how to store the data within a cloud and to retrieve it whenever the application was open. But just getting over that hurdle will be able to help in future projects down the road when it comes to handling data. And that's like the biggest part of the user experience, and to make the user experience as best as possible. UI as well. I of course could change some things in terms of like font or anything else like that to make it look a little bit better. I just used a more like soft red because I just figured that was just easier on the eyes. There was actually a red that was brighter than that, and it just didn't look that good. And then a huge thing that I noticed throughout the semester was actually just looking at the comments and staying agile in the sense of seeing what people really did want and being able to implement those features rather than ignoring customer and user feedback and continuing with the plan that you originally had out. So being able to change throughout the semester has really helped me become more confident in app development. Other hurdles that I experienced was when I was creating like the add function, I noticed that I was having trouble creating another instance of MusicCell. But when I used the logic from past object-oriented programming courses, made me realize I just needed to create another MusicCell, and it just was much easier than having to create it statically again. If you have any questions, please let me know regarding how to access Google Firebase and the data within it, along with any questions regarding iOS development. Please let me know. Thank you again.